This episode is brought to you by Never Second. Never Second is a system of fueling products formulated specifically for endurance athletes that provides a blueprint for success by allowing the athletes to test, optimize, and perfect their fueling and hydration. They take the guesswork out of performance fueling. I personally use Never Second on all of my training runs and my races, and I have no GI issues, and you know exactly how many carbohydrates you're taking in based on the names of the products themselves. If you want to try Never Second out, go ahead and use code SUBHUB25 to get 25% off of your purchase.
Welcome to the SubHub podcast. I'm Dani Moreno.
And I'm EmKay Sullivan. And with us today, we have Antonio Perez, who's a professional trail runner for Scarpa based in Onil, Spain. Antonio was most recently third at OCC in a very close men's race, and is currently ranked first overall in the Skyrunner World Series after wins at Calamorro, Madeira, third at Matheysins, and a second place at Gorbeia Suzien. Welcome, Antonio.
Hello, nice to be here with you.
How are you doing today? What are you still recovering from OCC, or have you gotten back into hard training for skyrunning stuff?
Yeah, I took quite a lot to recover from OCC. I remember that my first intensity training was 10 days after this, but last weekend I competed in a skyrunning race and it went pretty well, so my body felt like recovered. And now I'm still recovering from that race. That the muscles hurt more than OCC because the downhill was really fast and tough, and we were fighting for the podium. So yeah, still recovering every time.
Yeah, those downhills honestly look so brutal. We just interviewed Karina Carsolio last week, and we were talking about how watching you guys run down those hills is so terrifying, but so cool at the same time.
Yeah, for me, the downhill is my best skill. So I had to put a lot of effort on it because normally when we climb the first mountain, I'm not in the leading pack. So I had to try to catch them in the downhill. And yeah, that's a lot of stress for me and for my muscles.
That's awesome. Yeah, we would definitely consider you I think we both are very much in agreement that you are a very versatile runner. You can run a lot of different courses. So kind of just diving a little bit into the beginning, what is your sports background? And did you play any sports growing up?
Yeah, I could say that I started practicing sports since I was 8 years old. And at that moment, I was doing athletics, football, basketball, and orienteering. And then when I was getting older, orienteering was my best sport. And normally the best one you are good at, then you start to doing that more. So I decided to focus just on orienteering for some years. And I think it has been 16 years of doing just orienteering until 2019, where I switched to trail. And it has been quite good this period because I enjoy a lot, and also these years gave me a lot of strength and a lot of skill for running trail, which is quite similar in some parts.
Yeah. So you were born and raised in Onil, where you currently live, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know much about Spain in general, but I've never heard of Onil. So tell us a little bit about this town. Are you in the mountains? Have you always kind of been running on trails, or is that something that you kind of have to travel for?
Yeah, Onil is a small town. We are 7,000 people, and we live in the southeast of Spain. We don't have bigger mountains, but we have a lot of mountains. So yeah, since I was a kid, I like it being out, just doing a lot of stuff. not even sports, also just some parkour and climbing and everything that was possible. And there is a big culture in my country in sports, we could say. To put an example, we have had 4 athletic guys who have been in the Olympics over the years. So for being 7,000 people town, that's really huge.
Yeah, that's incredibly impressive that there's Olympians in a town that is that small. Parkour. When you say parkour, are you doing like urban parkour, like jumping around buildings and stuff?
Yeah, well, not jumping buildings, but doing a lot of tricks and backflips and this kind of stuff. And luckily, we didn't get injured because of that. Now, when I think about the things we were doing at that period, it's like, wow, we were, just crazy.
That honestly is one of my, like, I don't know if I'd call it a guilty pleasure because I tell people all the time, but I love following parkour athletes because it's something personally I would probably never be successful at, just be realistic. So that's really cool.
Yeah, and it's like the more crazy you are, the more tricks you can do. So you have to lose the fear, and then, you can jump from a lot of meters, and
I feel like this is where
you don't get injured.
I feel like this is probably where your skyrunning skills come from. Then just like jumping off of buildings and doing flips.
Yeah, maybe.
We've been interviewing a lot of athletes and, getting to know their backgrounds, and field hockey has become a prevalent something that we've noticed as a sport, but orienteering also translates over. So I think also we should start to keep an eye out for parkour, translating well to skyrunning. So you did all of these sports. I mean, that sounds amazing. You were kind of doing a little bit of everything. I mean, basketball, football. Obviously, I think you're like soccer for us Americans, parkour, orienteering. And so when did running capture your interest? Because at the same time, running to me is also quite different, like in a mental space from those sports.
Yeah, we could say that, when I was young, I just like it to be out doing stuff like playing and everything. That now when I see my nephews that they are always with the phone and at home, I feel a bit sad of it. But as I told you, I was just playing and running. Seriously, I think I started when I finished my secondary school, that I had more time to focus on that, and I put a lot of effort doing orienteering. I live in Norway for 1 year because I joined a club there, where in Nordic countries is where orienteering is more developed. In Spain is quite a small sport. So I try to get a lot of experience from out of Spain and from good runners, and thanks to it, it gave me a lot of experience to be the runner I am now in trail thing.
Yeah, Judith, we interviewed her probably like a month and a half ago, and she was telling us that for orienteering, a lot of the times you have to like go and live in these places that you're going to race, because it just like doesn't make sense otherwise. Like you have to like really know the terrain well. Is that part of why you moved to Norway for the year, or was it mostly just to be a part of a team?
Yeah, I think I felt like I was kind of stuck in Spain because I knew kind of all the terrains we have, and I thought that if I wanted to continue my improvement in orienteering, I needed a new place, and I got an opportunity from a club there, and then I didn't think it twice. I just moved there for 1 year, and it was amazing to see how they were doing the things and stuff. So it was really fulfilling experience.
During that time, were you, because again, going back to like your different sports, there's like a mix of, ones that obviously have competition against other people. Parkour, I think, is more maybe intrinsically you're motivated and not so much trying to win games or competitions. And so at that point, when you moved to Norway, were you trying to, or were you like a full-time professional orienteer, or was that something that didn't come to form until you transitioned into trail running?
No, I was not a professional in any year during orienteering. It was, I could manage this period because I have the excuse that I was studying. So I was trying to extend my studying period. First, I finished physical education teacher career. Then I did 3 master's degrees. Then I studied some Catalan title, some English as well. So I knew orienteering wasn't gonna give me some money from it, but I was having a lot of fun because I love the sport, being in the mountains. Also, I moved to Madrid for 2 years with another orientes in a house, and we were training together almost if we were professional, but without earning money, just having like the parent support because we were studying. So it was in 2018 where, I couldn't study anymore after 3 master's degrees. And then, I started to work a bit as a teacher. And then also it was kind of the same period where I started to get some money from trail running, where I was getting good results. And I tried to do both at the same time, working and training, but it was quite hard mentally. So I decide just to give it a try to the trail running life for some months or years, and then see if I could get a living from it. And at the moment, it's working really well. So, yeah.
Okay, so 3 master's degrees is a lot of degrees. So what are they all in? I know one of them was physical education. What are the other degrees that you have?
Yeah, the thing is, there is a university here in Spain where if we compete with them in some Spanish university champs, you get studies for free. So I wanted to take that advantage. And I did 1 master of tourism that is completely different from teaching. Another one was like a variant of physical education. Also is, I don't know the name in English. And the other one is to teach in a secondary school, because my degree is for primary school. So yeah, I just wanted to continue doing sports. So the studies were like the excuse for my parents and for me, like doing another thing at the same time.
I feel like there's a lot of athletes in the US that would do that if they could, but the way that our system is set up, like the NCAA, you only get 5 years, maybe 6 if you get hurt. And so, but I feel like if there was an opportunity to just keep getting degrees and like being able to play sport, people would totally do it.
Yeah. I don't think titles give you a lot of opportunities of work here in Spain, but yeah, at that moment I did it because it was free, and most of them were, I could do it almost online, just had to be there for the exams. So I didn't have to attend to the classes. And I think it was a good opportunity to continue studying and preparing for the future as best as possible.
Yeah. So you said that you were like an elementary school PE teacher for some time. How long did you do that? And like, what got you into wanting to work with kids?
Yeah, it was only 1 month because then it was at the end of the year, and then I started to get the contract, so it was not that much time. And since since I was young, I love sports. I remember being like 3-4 hours out just playing, and I knew I wanted to study something related with the sports. And yeah, the university I have close to my home, one of the careers was physical education teacher, so I just went for it, and I really love it. And I guess when I finish the sports career, that I don't know if it's gonna last 1 or 10 years more, but I will switch again to teaching.
So, so during it, I mean, at what point then? And so, how old were you, and what was your first trail race, and how was that first experience, like having your eyes open to this new world?
I'm 32 right now, and I've been doing some trail races from quite a long time, but it was always in off season of orienteering. So I normally finish the orienteering season in maybe July or something like that, and then I'm doing some races during the summer here. And I remember like one of them that was quite wild. It was in Scotland, Ring of Steel. That was the one I remember the most because it was in a different country and really technical, and I fell in love of the sport. And I knew I wanted to give it a try when I finished the orienteering season career, we could say, but I didn't know when. And it was in 2019, after putting a lot of effort and realized that it was hard to improve my results and improve my skills. So I just decided that it was the moment, and I think I'm much better in trail running than in orienteering, where you have to think and read a map and find controls.
That's funny. I think I was at that same race, if it was the one that was like the Skyrunning World Championships that year.
Yeah.
And I love how you said I got really excited from that race because I went in the complete opposite direction because the mud and the bogs, you know how that technical downhill, my brain was just, what did I just experience? I never want to do that race again. But I'm glad that there's people like you who can balance me out.
And I guess in US you don't have these kind of races. Even in Spain, it's hard to find like these wild races. Like it was really muddy, fog, stony, everything that is possible in a race, and a lot of climbing, like really steep. And I really love. Even I struggle a bit also, but I really love that.
Yeah, we don't really have like boggy trails in the US that you can practice on because so I saw that you did Field Marathon this year actually, and my first international race was Field Marathon in 2021, and I DNF'd because it was so boggy that I just like wrecked my ankles, and I had never experienced or like practiced on anything like that. And so we have nothing like that in the US to practice on.
I have been told that in the US is most of the races are more fast and non-technical, and so that's good when you come here and try these things.
Yeah, no, definitely. So it seems that you took a liking or an interest to skyrunning almost immediately, which that makes sense, you know, considering your background and everything. But you've also done OCC at least the last 2 years that I know of, and have gotten 2 podiums there. And so having as much success as you have had in skyrunning, what has, you know, how come that race has also taken some of your interest?
I think a good point from me is that I'm quite regular in all kind of races, and it's a different point that some runners complain sometimes about some race if it's too fast, too technical. I just try to adapt. I know, or at least I try to know what I'm gonna find, and then I try to prepare for that. And I have been 3 times in OCC. The first one was the worst experience ever. It has been the only race where I quit. I felt like I was super prepared. I prepared a lot from home, and then in the 40K, I didn't have any energy to just run or even walk anymore, and I didn't care about finishing in 50th place, but I couldn't finish, so I quit. And then the next 2 years, I switched the situation quite good, because I decided to be there 3-4 weeks before the race, because in summer where I live, it's really hard to train because of the heat. And I decided to be there in that mountains with a lot of climbing, kind of in altitude, with good weather for training. And I think that was one of the key points that I did it well these last 2 years. And about the sky running also is like, I like all kind of races, and I could say if they are technical, even better. So when I saw the calendar, I haven't done any race before of the league, but I knew the races because I'm quite I like to see the videos and everything around trail running world, and that attracts me, and then I decided to go for it, and at the moment it's going pretty well as well.
Yeah, that's incredible. I feel that that's well, first off, thank you. Me and EmKay both need to go back to those sky running races. Try them again and be adaptable. But I feel that that's a growing theme, honestly, in our sport. Is none of us live in areas that have every single kind of trail, and a lot of us don't even have access to more than maybe like 1 or 2 trails, depending on where you live and if you have a job in the city and stuff like that. And so I feel that it is a growing theme where athletes like yourself are thinking, okay, I actually need to go and be there for a little bit, similar like you did for Norway and orienteering, to get a hold of that place before you start racing there. And I mean, it's just so cool to see your work and attentiveness pay off, because you had 2 podiums. And honestly, your race this year, OCC, was insane, because I saw you guys going up until the last climb, and everyone kept telling me how insane your last downhill was. Like, you were going so fast. And I'm sure knowing those trails definitely, I'm sure, paid some of that into there as well.
Yeah, it helps a lot to be there and run during 4 weeks in those tracks. And OCC this year was really special because, I kind of knew that repeating a podium would be almost impossible. Not impossible, but really hard. And I tried to do the same strategy as the year before, but it was follow my own pace, focus on the nutrition and the hydration. And I kind of lose the hope when I was in the middle of the race, and I was, I think, 15 or 16 place. And I passed through the halfway with the same time as last year, but last year I was 6 or 7 in a 6-7 place, and this year I was 15, 16. So I knew being the podium would be almost impossible there, but I just kept believing, and I was starting to feel better, catching a lot of good runners, and that gave me motivation. And in the last uphill, I overtook some guys, and then I was 4 at the top. And some friend told me that the Chinese guy who was third in that moment was really tired, and I just went crazy in that downhill, because I didn't want to be 4th. I preferred to be 5th than 4th. And last year also I was fighting for the victory in the last downhill with Manu Merillas, and I was leading for 30 seconds, and I had a lot of cramps that day, and I was struggling, and this year I didn't have any cramps. I had a lot of energy and just went for it. I think it was 2 minutes gap. The thing is, the kilometers were passing by, and I was not seeing the Chinese guy, and I thought, oh, this is that's it. I'm gonna be fourth. But in the last 2K, I saw him, and then I think I did the fastest kilometer in the race, and then I overtook him, and then I saw Puppy that was like 30 seconds ahead, and I was, whoa, maybe I can be even second, but no, that was too much, and I was really pleased and happy to be again in the podium. That before starting the race, I saw it quite hard.
Watching you and Manuel compete last year for first place was so cool, because like you guys are both such successful Skyrunners, and I think that sometimes people are like, oh, well, they're Skyrunners, like they can't be that fast, right? But OCC is insanely runnable and such a fast course, and just so to have these two dudes that are like crushers on technical, like insane courses, battling it out on this runnable course was so awesome. I loved it. And same with this year, obviously. Like you were racing Poopy, who was like, you know, a 2:14 or 2:15 marathoner or something like that. And I think that's so cool to have that versatility.
Yeah. I think one of my strengths is the versatility, and also I need a bit to believe in myself, because sometimes when I see the start field, it's like, no, I cannot be there, because these 7-8 runners are much better than me. But then when I start running, I start feeling good, and then I see them around, and I realize that they are not that far from me. So I start to believe, and that was one of the key in this OCC.
Yeah, I love that. I feel that many times we get in our own ways. Leading up to the race, thinking about the start list, and it just takes the gun going off to remind yourself, no, I can race anybody. But that buildup is always anxious, especially for yourself when you are coming in with a podium from the previous year, and you hope to match that or do better. But yeah, that was an incredible race. So huge congrats, 2 podiums at OCC. That's something that people should very much take note of, especially since this year, with combination of the shorter course, as you know, because you ran it in 2022, but the weather as well. And then you add the fields, like you had to know it was going to be a battle, and you stepped up to the plate. So yeah, huge congrats.
Well, I think it's also just a reminder that like we all need to not put ourselves in these boxes, because I know that I'm really bad at being like, okay, I'm a runnable trail runner. But then like every once in a while I'll send it on a downhill and I'm like, okay, maybe I am not just a runnable downhiller. So I just love the versatility there.
Yeah. So with, looking more at this year, Skyrunning is a series that you've been very prevalent on and doing extremely well. How would you rank your season of the races you've selected so far? And are you doing there's one more race, or did it just happen before the final?
There is one race, but it's from the small one, so it's not counting.
It's really not a premier race.
Yeah, exactly. And then the final is at the end of October in Limon Extreme. And I'm leading the World Series, but it's quite open, because there are 2 more runners who are quite close to me. That is Manu Merillas and Frederic Tranchan. But also there are some other runners who, if they have his day, they can be there. So with a podium, I would win the overall, but if I'm 4th and Manu or Frederic wins, then they win the overall. So it's gonna be quite tight and interesting. Yeah.
Have you ran that race at all before?
No, it would be the first time. So I'm gonna try to be there at least like 5 or 6 days before to see the course, because it's quite important. that will be the last race of the season. That it has been a really long season, and I want to end as best as possible. But even if I don't have a good performance there, it will not be really disappointing, because I'm more than happy that what I have done this year.
So tell us a little bit about how you set your schedule up, and how you ended up choosing the races that you did in the series. And I'll ask the rest of the question after.
Yeah, in the beginning of the year, I decided to take 3 paths. One of them was the Skyrunning World Series. The second one was the UTMB. And the third one was the Spartan Trail League, also that I'm doing. And the idea was to start with them, and then just chose one or another, depends on how they were going. But all of them were surprisingly good, and I have been able to combine all of them, trying to decide a coherent calendar, giving enough space between races and resting, tapering, and training also. And I think I have done 12 races during this year, and all of them has been really good. So I'm just looking forward to this last one, and then take a deserved rest. And the races I choose is basically depending a bit of everything, depending on the sponsor. If for example, the UTMB, they are, for the sponsor, is the race where you have to be. But then the other one, I have freedom to choose, and I like I choose them because of the race itself, because it can be really motivating, or because of the experience. For example, I've been in Patagonia in April because I really wanted to be in Argentina and just be in that race. And I choose depending a bit of everything. And
When you say leave enough space between the races for training and taper, about how many weeks is that for you?
Normally at least 3. I think it has been 2 weeks in one race, but normally 3 or more. I don't like to run 2 races in 2 weeks. That many people do that, but I don't like. And I know I have competed a lot, because 12 races we are ending September. That's a lot. If you see, for example, Kipchoge, he runs twice per year. And I know that's a lot, but I decided to not have a super peak performance during the year in any race. I try to be quite stable in my shape, so it worked out pretty well, I would say.
So what do those weeks look like in between? Because like we were talking about at the beginning, you were saying that after OCC, it took you like 10 days to get back to a point of intensity. You just ran a race this weekend. You're still not quite recovered. So kind of run us through, like, if it is a 3-week period, what that looks like.
Yeah, it depends on the race. I don't have a certain days where I say, okay, 3 days I'm going to start training. It's like depending how the body is answering. I think I'm quite good at listening the body, and I just prefer to rest enough than not just start training before than I should. So I think, that has been quite good for me, because I haven't felt tired in any race, and that's why I have competed a lot.
You're almost racing like a college kid, in the sense that you're almost like racing yourself into shape. I'm sure that's not the only thing that's getting you into shape, obviously, but those are such high intensity efforts that you can't really like do on your own. And so I imagine that even though you're racing frequently, like those races are huge workouts, basically.
Yeah. And also I have doing some changes in my training because in January I had a posterior tibial problem, and I reduced a lot the volume in running. So I have introduced the cycling, and also I haven't done more than 2 hours long run. Just basically my long runs were in the races itself. So yeah, I'm quite impressed of my performance because I have not trained that much as other years, but I'm getting better results and better at racing. So
Yeah, that's awesome. It sounds like you don't have a coach. Are you coaching yourself?
Yeah, I'm coaching myself since the last 2 years.
Using those 3 master's degrees for coaching yourself. No, that's awesome. Is the cycling road cycling or mountain biking? Because I wouldn't be surprised if it's both.
No, it's road biking, and I'm mostly doing for the second training of the day. Sometimes on the weekends there is a group here in my town where they do 100K or more, so I go with them. But it's mostly to do the second training. That some years, like last year or some other years, I was doing 3 or 4 times a week, twice trainings of running per day. So I have switched that, and also the long runs. That's what I was impressed, because I haven't run more than 2 hours in a training, and I have been able to compete and quite well races of 3, 4, and 5 hours. And I think that's thanks because of my background and my other years and my consistency. I don't know how is that word in English.
Consistency, yeah.
Yeah, consistency. That I realized that I don't need to do a super good trainings. I need just to do a lot, like don't get injured and having a lot of normal or good days, but not a super good training that makes you tired for the next 2 or 3 days or makes you have some pain or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best part about consistently training over the years, is that eventually it takes us all way too long to figure this out. But eventually you figure out that, oh, I have this massive base that I've been building since I was like 15. Like, I'm going to be fine if I take 3 weeks off, or if I have to take this time off and just bike for a little bit. But sometimes it's so hard for us to wrap our heads around that.
Yeah, and another point I forgot is on the easy days, now I go quite easy. That before, on the easy days, I was not pushing, but not going so easy. So I think that also help in some way.
Is there any sort of, just talking to Karina about, proprioception and doing things that are specific to maybe like more technical sky running? Is there any sort of strength training or stuff like that you do?
No, that's one of my worst points. I know I should do more strength training, but I prefer to spend more time in running or in the bike. And I just doing exercises for the tibial posterior and some core and stuff, but not that much that I should do, honestly.
It's the parkour background still carrying you through.
Maybe.
So no, keep going.
No, sorry.
I was just going to ask, because you said that you train with like that large group on the bike. Do you train with anybody for the rest of your training, or do you mostly run alone?
Depending. I guess you know Andreu Blanes, who won Cegama last year. He's from my hometown. And now he's focused on, we kind of had the same background, that we are from the same age. We did orienteering for 16 years. And then I decided to try trail running, and he decided to try athletics. But yeah, we are friends, best friends, and everything. And I think that helps. That helped that to be in the level we are at now. And now that he's more focused on 3,000 steeplechasing, he wants to be Olympic for next year. He's doing more specific workouts in flat terrain and everything. But when he had some easy running, we tried to train together and so. And for the bike, normally I train twice a day, and in the morning people are working, obviously, and I train alone now. But on the evenings, I try to go with the bike with some friend. So that helps to make it more easy.
Do you ever do track workouts with him?
No.
That's crazy, though.
Some years before I did, but now I realize I don't have that speed anymore. And also for my muscles, just running in the track or in the asphalt, really hard because I'm more used to the mountain now. So I'm not doing a lot of with him, a lot of intensity with him.
That'd probably irritate your tendonitis too, I'd imagine. But that's insane. I said it would probably irritate your tendonitis also, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Like speed work on the track.
Yeah.
He won Zagama and he's still like a serious steeplechaser. Yeah,
he had a dream to be a Olympic and he wanted to give it a last try this year.
Well.
And I guess he's gonna switch to trail running after that, but he wants to focus on that one more year. Well, he finished second in Sierra, but then the first guy was positive, so he unofficially won.
That's the worst.
Oh, yes, yeah. I know him. Okay.
I don't know if you remember. It was last year.
Yeah. Last year,
yeah.
Well, that's cool. Okay, so I agree. Being fourth, it's like I would rather be fifth or third than second or fourth at times because you just missed the win and you just missed the podium. Who are some of the other runners in the Skyrunning final that you are excited to compete against besides Manuel and Fred?
Yeah, I guess, I could say many names. It will be quite open and tight because the league, I think it has 12 or 13 races, and some runners go to some of them, some others go to another. And in the final we will be all of us just fighting. And I could tell you like Roberto De Lorenzi from Switzerland, Zaid Malek, Daniel Antolini, William Bofelli. Well, there are many men. And also in the women class, it's quite open because there are two French ladies who had the same points. So, and also the third lady is a Canadian, also that is quite close to them. So it will be quite interesting to follow.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting because we haven't talked with Manuel yet, but like I know that Manuel is ranked very high in the Golden Trails World Series. Roberto is ranked really high. It'll be curious to see if they do both or just one or the other. And I imagine you're just doing Skyrunning Masters, right?
Yeah, I'm not doing Golden, but I know that some of them are doing both. Like Manu Merillas is fighting also for the top 3 in the Golden.
Yeah.
So it's the week before that. The good point is the race is not that long, so if they had a good recovery, they can do both. And there are many runners like Manu, like Roberto De Lorenzi, for example, also I think is running both, and some more.
Well, maybe that'll give you a little bit of an edge.
Yeah, hopefully. I need it.
I love it. So you were saying that you started with Skyrunning, Spartan, and UTMB. Is there like a final for Spartan World? And if there is, are you going to do it? Or is that kind of just like a couple of races in the year?
Yeah, there are not finals. It counts 5 races and you can do a lot, but there are not many. So yeah, you have to do as much as races as possible, and yeah, it counts 5 of them. And I think I will run. I have 4 already, and I think I will go for the 5th one in San Francisco in Golden Gate. Is the last one.
Oh, let me know. I'm thinking about maybe running that one.
So maybe I will see you there. That would be
Yeah,
nice.
that'll be
That's
cool.
awesome. Yeah, because
And
Solomon Perinu is this weekend. The
yeah,
Pyrenees. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, but that's a major from Spartan League, and you can only have 3 majors, and I have already 3 of them. So this one will not. It will then count for me. So I decided to just run the skyrunning race I did last weekend instead of this.
Gotcha. That makes
So
sense.
then after Sky Masters and maybe San Francisco, that's like 14 races on the year, right?
Yeah, I lost the count.
Oh my gosh. I think I've done like,
yeah, the thing is, the body is it feels good with it and feels prepared. So I didn't have the plan to compete that much, but I saw that the body is answering, and I'm giving him the enough recovery time. So also I feel motivating for running these races, and when all of this goes in the same direction, then yeah, why not?
That's awesome. And what shoe do you think you'll be wearing at the Skyrunning World Series final?
Why shoes? What shoes?
Yes.
I normally run with the same one, that is Rebel Run from Scarpa. They are not so light, but I feel quite good with them in the downhill, especially when it's technical. So yeah, they are my favorites. I have run OCC always with them, and I will continue running the Skyrunning series with them as well.
one last question that I have, just about talking about how much you race, because I think it's cool that you can do that. I don't know that I can do that at this point, but I'm wondering if part of the reason that it's like still fresh and exciting and you have the motivation to race is that you're not just doing one series. You're racing different people like pretty much every time. Do you think that helps with like keeping it exciting? Because I feel like some of us get stuck in these like series and you're just racing the same people over and over and over again.
Yeah, maybe that's one point. And I'm kind of new in trail running, so almost all the races are new for me. And I in this point of life where I want to travel, I want to have a good experience, I want to compete, and even if it's not the best for performance, I prefer to sacrifice a bit of it and live that experience. And I love racing and competing. So yeah, now that I feel fresh, I want to continue this way. I don't know next year, but yeah, this year it has been awesome, and all the puzzle has been, yeah, I don't know the name in English, but yeah, it went pretty well.
The puzzle's fitting.
Yeah.
I like it. Cool. Well, we are excited.
But there are some runners who compete more than me. I was talking with Taid, and he has come from, I think, 3 or 4 races in a row, and he competed this weekend, and then he's gonna do 2 more in the next week. So it's gonna be like 6 weeks in a row. And he said that, yeah, like he likes to compete, obviously, but he prefers to do the intensity training in the race, because some races he's not pushing that hard even if he has a big number. But yeah, for that you need to choose like local races or so.
Yeah.
That definitely makes sense. Knowing your intention and purpose behind, the bib number and getting to the start line and stuff, I think is a big part of it, and knowing where it kind of goes into your whole plan. But yeah, that's really cool. I think a lot of people in our sport would align with you in, wanting to have that life experience, traveling, seeing the world, and, doing it as a professional athlete. I mean, that's pretty something a lot of people just dream of. So
it's the dream.
Really cool.
Yeah.
The dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Antonio, we are going to be cheering loud for you. We are so excited. The final, we're super hyped about it. And as we talk to you and Karina, we're getting even more excited to watch how this final unravels. But huge luck to you. And thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for letting me be here. And it has been really a pleasure. And hopefully I see you in a race. And yeah, maybe in San Francisco.
Yeah, maybe we'll see what I can figure out. I mean, it is just a 21K, not a 50K for once.
Yeah.
Well,
and not that much climbing, I think.
Yeah, no, San Francisco is not too bad.
Yeah. Thanks, and see you around.
Yeah. This has been the SubHub podcast, brought to you by Freetrail. Just a reminder for you guys that this episode is brought to you by Never Second. Check out the show notes for a link to their website, their Instagram page, and use code SubHub25 at checkout to get 25% off of your purchase. That's SubHub25.